Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the Java Cafe before, but I call days like this Tuesday. The Tuesday when you have the Monday off. It's Tuesday, but you still have that Monday feeling. Let's just also name that, the holiday yesterday. For some of us, mentally, it's not Mental Health Monday, but for some of us, it's kind of considered the last holiday of the summer. And, we've talked about seasonal affective disorder. Yes. When the seasons change and we deal with issues. And I'm going to tell you all, from summer to fall, that's an issue for me. I like the summer. I like warm weather. Y'all know I dip off to the beach often, and it just is very, very interesting. So it is technically Testimony Tuesday. I'm going to share some things with you. Also some programming updates for this week, as well as share with you also, we finally made some decisions about the birthday that is coming up. It is so funny because this whole thing about the August 16th, 3 to 6, and then 7. Well, yeah, I'm going to kind of start keeping that one a little bit private because that is invite only for the 7 to 11. But I wanted to let you all know before we get started and go into the Java Cafe, for those of you that are just jumping in quickly this morning, a few people have reached out. This Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, we will be at Estella's restaurant in the downtown Boston area. I don't think I can go in. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Yes, I can. Okay, so let's zoom in before y'all get me and say that you can't see the information. All right, there we go. So it's a Java birthday. Let's get some music in here. It's a Java birthday. We invite you to an evening of celebration to ring in the 52nd 52nd birthday of James Jimmy Hills. That'll be this Thursday, 9/7/2023, 7 o'clock in the evening at Estella's Restaurant, 49 Temple Place, downtown Boston. Now, I'm always sensitive to our mothers, travel, parking, and things like that. Mothers, your event is on August 16th at 3 p.m. Don't worry about this being here, but I wanted to share it also with others that have asked about it. I'm also waiting for confirmation now. A few folks have texted me just to make sure. Anissa and the team are in the process of incorporating a tech service for the Java Cafe, and I believe the invitation went out via text. A few people have asked, so I'm waiting for confirmation before I tell you it's okay to go ahead and click that, because I don't want nobody blaming me because they click something. So let's go into Java Cafe this morning and see who is in this morning. It is just me today. And am I saying August? Lord Jesus, did I mess up the date? Today is Tuesday, September. How could I forget what month it is? September 5th, 2023. Mama Java is in the building. The first one this morning. Good morning to you, Miss Teresa. Look what I'm wearing. Got to shout out Miss T. Thank you so much for the support for the swag. She is my exclusive swag creator. A lot of the things that she creates is just for me. We do have some mass marketing things coming down the pike. Talk to the team on Tuesday at the photo shoot, so that is happening. Pastor Marion, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Nicole, good morning. Good to see you in the room. So Nicole put up a post yesterday, a picture of, let me see if I can go and find it real quick. Hold on, y'all. This, I think you're going to enjoy this. Miss T is always bringing up jokes and different things. So let me go. Wow. Okay. I just saw a picture that I posted a couple of years ago and it looks pretty decent. I'll show you all after this. So Nicole, where is it? Why can't I find? Why isn't she coming up? That is crazy. Why aren't you coming up on Facebook? That is interesting. All right. Nicole put up a picture yesterday. Let me see if I can get it up here. And it took me a few minutes to figure it out. And I need to, okay, there we go. So I'm going to show you all the picture she put up yesterday. And I sat there and I looked at it and I was like, what in Jesus' name? All right, where is it, Nicole? You don't put a lot of post up, Jesus. Where is Nicole? Where is the post from yesterday? Oh, I thought it was from Nicole. All right. So basically, she put up a picture of someone eating pork and beans and boiled eggs on the left. And then on the other side, there was a car seat that had a burn hole in it. So imagine that. Pork and beans and eggs on the left, a car seat, a seat of the passenger side with a burn hole in it. And so I'm sitting there trying to correlate what the heck is going on. Basically, that person had gas. And it's not as funny. I'm sorry to waste your time. I'm telling you all about it. But Nicole, I couldn't find the picture. Opal, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Leslie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Nice headshot that you took at the Trailblazers event. Patrice, Sister Socks, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Nicole, congratulations to you and your daughters. Just to pause for a minute, and we'll do this toward the end as well. But keep our young people, our parents, our teachers, our school administrators, the bus monitors, those that the secretaries, those that have anything to do with our children's education. As we know, most folks are returning back to school today and tomorrow. So please keep those young people in prayer. There's a lot going on. We're going to talk about another issue off of Twitter that I posted about and saw, and we're going to chat about that in just a few minutes. Uncle Thaddeus, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Folks, don't forget this Friday. Of course, this Friday is my birthday, but we are spending that with Uncle Thaddeus at the Black Joy event at the ICA that is beginning, I believe, at 6:30 p.m. On this Friday at the ICA. So please come out to that if you are able to. Mama Java, thank you. It is not August. It is September. Thank you so much. Tara, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Always good to see you when you're able to pop in. Sister Soraya, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. And so Heidi, good morning. There's a others element to this Thursday. And so, yeah, see you on Thursday for that segment of the others. Okay. I keep saying August. Sorry, Ma. Thaddeus, thank you. September. I don't know what's wrong with me. Ramilda, good morning. Good to see you in the room. As always, sister, good morning to you. Miss T, yeah, we know you like birthdays. I'm waiting on a text. I'm gonna leave that right there. Leslie, September. Okay, fine. September 16th. I'm sorry, y'all. It's only September 5th. I need a few days to transition. Eric, brother, what's up? Good to see you in the room. When are you coming this way so we can break bread, sir? Good to see you. Patrice, thank you. Okay, Jesus Christ. September, y'all. September 16th. I appreciate all the support and you all keeping me on track. September 16th at 3 p.m. All right. My birthday month, absolutely. Coria, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. Thank you so much for always sending folks to us to talk about what's going on in the trial court here in Massachusetts in Suffolk County. Nikki, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Please check Facebook. And hopefully you can come out to Estella's on Thursday so we can have a good time like we did a few weeks ago, and no wet seats. And we'll just leave that right there. Yes, the September dates for the others. Oh, my goodness. All right. Isaiah, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. Good to see you. Sister Irene, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Good to see you. I think I got everybody. Kimberly, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. And thank you so much, Coria. Thank you. Misha, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Yes, we're talking about birthday plans. Misha, please feel free to come out Thursday night and also Saturday, the September 16th at 3. She's also saying good morning. Asia, good morning. Are you listening over from somewhere, wherever you guys are in the world, you all do me a favor and wish Asia and Ray, my brother, her husband, a happy anniversary. I think it's 10 years, 20 years. You guys have going down. So good to see you in the room from wherever you are in the world celebrating your anniversary. Tara, I forgot, happy birthday coming up to you as well on the 10th. Pastor Marion, leave me. Yes. That is kind of what happens when you, yeah, it's been like that for me for a while. All right. So a few minutes ago, I referred to keeping our parents and our students and things in prayer, and our young people. Gave the whole commentary last week about what's going on with our youth. I also want to name that yesterday, on Sunday rather, I had caught wind late last week that there were social media posts that the young people were going to get back up on Sunday down in South Bay. Shared that post. It got shared about 50 something times. And so I think could be far-fetched. I think the word got out that this was possibly happening. However, I want to shout out Brother Randy Muhammad from Mosque number 11 in Grove Hall. I was driving through South, and it's crazy because I needed to go to Target, and I think I got in the parking lot, wound up going to Home Depot, and it hit me. I said, oh my God, I'm in South Bay while this thing is supposed to go down. And it was around, I want to say around 3:30, if I remember correctly. And I rode past and looked up toward the movie theater, Chipotle, and all those in that area. And guess who, Ramilda, I'll go to that in a second. You may have, and depending on when you told me and where you told me, I may or may not remember. And we'll just leave that right there, bro. And so despite whatever around it, I need to shout out Brother Randy Muhammad and FOI from the Mosque that were present. They were in South Bay deep. Couldn't find Nicole's picture, but let me see if I can find Brother Randy's post so you all can see for yourself what they went down there and did. This is leadership. This is what we do. I think I'm going to be able to. Hold on, y'all. I think I got this together. Now let's just take it. Y'all know I'm getting spoiled over at GBH. I don't have to do none of this. All right, let's see if we can get this queued up so you all can see what Brother Randy and them did yesterday. Shout out to them for showing up and being in place to make sure that our young people would not have any incidents. And Ramilda, I'm going to come to your point in a second. Ramilda, you know I'll mess around and call you. All right, so this is Brother Randy Muhammad and the brothers from FOI from the Mosque yesterday. Cookie, I just saw you jump in the room. Jermaine Tullock put up a post asking for same energy and prayer for our young people as we had. Heidi, I'm going to leave that alone. All right, entire screen. I think this is a window. I think Chrome tab. Share the sound. Facebook. Okay, I think I got it ready, y'all. This is Brother Randy Muhammad and them yesterday from the Mosque.
10,000 right down to Stop and Shop. Peacemakers Boston. Peacemakers Boston. 10,000 fearless. F-O-I. 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 Black men, stand up right now. Right here. Peace and blessings, family. We down in South Bay Shopping Mall. Right now. 10,000 fearless peacemakers being present for peace in our community. We calling on all black men to stand up. Join the 10,000 fearless peacemakers so that we can come out here in our community and make our community a safe and decent place to live. And our responsibility is meant to do that, to make it safe for our women and children. So we can join the 10,000 fearless. Right now, we join the 10,000 fearless. We out every Monday evening. We go out into the community. Meet us in front of 10 Washington Street in Grove Hall. We go out into the community and promote peace. We have a Stop the Beef hotline. If you need us, 833-4 No Smoke. We try to resolve conflicts before they escalate into violence. Black man, stand up right now, right now, right now. right now.
Everywhere we go, people want to know who we are. So we tell them, we are the mighty, mighty. 10,000 fearless. Peacemaking Boston. 10,000 fearless. Not us and who? Not here and where? Black man, talking to you. Not us and who? Not here and where? Black man, talking to you. Stand up right now. Brothers for peace. Right now. Brothers for peace. Right now. Our mother. Black man. You. Stand up. Right now.
So if you were just coming in, what I highlighted was what I observed yesterday in reference to the FOI, Brother Randy Muhammad, and the brothers from the mosque that responded. And so Ramilda, I'm going to get you queued up real quick. Ramilda said she'll come on if she doesn't have to be on screen, because I think it's important to also balance. Ramilda is asserting that it wasn't the young people, that, you know, it may have been some older folks or whatever the case. But I just had to highlight the fact that Brother Randy and them went out there. And so Ramilda, Eve, I gotta inbox you something. But come by Estella's on Thursday night at 7:00. Good to see you in the room, sis. Hold on, I got some other sound up here that I need to get out. All right, I think I stopped sharing screen. We're good. And so let me get this hooked up here. We are connected. I'm about to call Ramilda and get her on with us in 1 second. Hold on, y'all. I think I got it. Let's see if
Hello?
Whoa.
Yes.
Hey, you know, because you've seen on Facebook. So give us the clarity. First of all, thank you for hopping on real quick. I don't remember, or you may have told me that it wasn't the young people, depending on when and where you told me last week. I may or may not remember, but we'll leave that alone. But please, please,
I thought about it. Yeah.
Please clarify for us what you meant by it wasn't the young people that was asserting that this thing was going to go down on Sunday.
So, working with young people and also having young kids, teenagers myself, and one young adult, you have to, the way that it was sent out and the language that was used in that flyer, and I also received the flyer to someone else.
So there was an actual flyer?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So the young people would not put up no flyer. And if anything, you have to understand, like, the language in that flyer is not this generation's language.
Okay.
Those are not the words that they use, right? So it's like saying my generation put up that flyer, but you got, oh, come on, jive turkey. We don't talk like that, right? That's a couple of generations before us.
Okay.
So obviously you would know, right? But not that they put jive turkey, it was just other words and language that was used. That's the first thing that, I don't know, it set me to be like, hold on. I knew it just wasn't the young people, right? Yeah. I also know that these young people, the way that they operate and how they use social media versus us, is totally different. There are group chats. There are different things. They're not going to put that out there like that for us to know. Obviously, that's an alert to us. They're very savvy. They're very intelligent. Shame on the person who did put that flyer out there, because you just thought these kids doesn't. They're very intelligent. You know, they're young, but that doesn't mean that they're stupid or dumb. But if you see who originally got that flyer, why is it only you, right? I shared it with some young people, and I'm gonna be, they keep it real with me.
Yep.
So many young people that I asked and talked to never saw the flyer, didn't know anything about it, and honestly said ain't nothing going down. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
that leads to some. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I knew then that it wasn't them. It didn't come from them. Also, then when you backtrack and you look at who was putting a flyer out there to say, hey, you guys, look what's going on. It's going to happen. Me personally, I don't trust that person. I also know that the community doesn't trust that person. I also know things that that person has done to some youth that made the youth not trust him, right, at all. And these people that he claims that the city is putting him to work with do not trust him. They put that out there all the time, right? They speak to him in a negative way. You mention his name, it's just different things, right? So how come you the only one that saw that? How come you the only one that got that? Or whatever, however, wherever you got it from. Why is it just you? We have many youth workers in the city of Boston. And that only came out in your radar? That was very skeptical to me. Also, that same person had did something a little similar to a nephew of mine, right? And that created a huge conflict. And we knew not to trust that person because he always says stuff that's really not true, and it gets people in trouble. So
okay. And
we just have to be careful sometimes of what we put out there.
I was just getting ready to say that, and I was a little reserved at first when I posted that, but I heard from a couple of like reliable resources or sources. Listen to me talk about sources. A couple of sources, and I'm like, okay, let me at least put parents on guard and on standby because it is. And I want to thank you for naming and highlighting our young people. And they're, they are smart and can we back up? And Ramilda, you say this often, we did some stuff at their age. And so, it wasn't as extreme. And, you and I have shared some commentary about some observations about how the times are different. But I just wanted to be sure when I saw that comment, I wanted to be sure that those that are watching, parents knew and whatnot, that, we got to be careful in what we consume, but also if there was any risk of that and me not having that. So I should have hit you up and as you said, you may have told me and I just don't remember, but the post may have already, the post may have already been out. But the good thing about that is that despite how that came up, if it was true or not, can we just celebrate the fact of Brother Randy and 10,000 Fearless showing up in leadership, being down there, just in case, that was the case.
Definitely. Brother Randy's always going to show up. I don't doubt that at all. He's always going to be. But we have to be careful and mindful of what we're doing. And us as adults, we have to hold each other accountable. Because that's dangerous. That you're putting something out there that these young people, I'm telling you, it wasn't them. I know it wasn't them. Because if you look at the language, that language is far removed from the streets today. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's something somebody in my generation, and I'm 41, that's something someone in my generation would say. That's not these young people today, right? Totally different. Like I said, that's just like if my generation is going around talking about you jive turkey.
That brought it home for a lot of people.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be us, right? Yep. That would be more my mom or whoever, right? So
I don't even say jive turkey.
And I use that in references so people can understand what I'm saying. Like, I don't use that thing. No offense, no nothing. I'm just saying that's not what we say, right? So you just have to pay attention to that, right? Absolutely. And if you work with these young people and you know young people and they're around you every day, right? You know that there's a difference and you could tell, and again, we have to hold each other accountable because if an adult, it really did put that flyer together and put it out there or whatever have you,
that's not good.
Shame on them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Shame on them because think about what could have happened and what resources that you're wasting that people probably would have tapped into. Maybe there was tons of police officers out there that might have been in other parts of the community or whatever have you, right? But just because of that, there are a lot of, listen, we could go on for days, but y'all gotta be careful who we put in to work with these kids.
That's a whole nother conversation. From who's working with to who's being supported with that S with the line through it, $. And not just that incident, but there were there was the incident Heidi referred to last week, Kenya, referred to last week that, to her question, Ramilda's point is they don't put out a flyer. It was group chat, text, Snapchat, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That it's not, and so that's why I was careful in saying that it's a rumor or alleged, but it doesn't negate the fact that, and we've had this convo too, Ramilda, about parents. I put up a post a few weeks ago about, you know, how do you keep up when your children or your teen, and they are still children. We have to give, they're not babies, but I put the post asking the question, how do you
12-year-old is a baby to me.
Well, 12-year-old is a baby, and to some extent 15,
why
16
is your 12-year-old at South Bay by him? But I don't know, like with no adults. Nah, I don't know. Look, I ain't judging. To each their own. Everybody parent differently. I'm not here to talk about nobody's parenting skills, but I'm gonna ask people to step up as a parent. I'm not letting my 12-year-old go to the mall or South Bay or downtown by themselves.
Yeah, it's very.
Maybe that's because of my own PTSD of my past childhood traumas or whatever have you. It's just not happening. But we talked about this too, and again, we was at somewhere else, so I don't even expect you to remember. But we also talked about the difference, right? And how people are so, oh my God, these kids are acting up. They went to stop. What they did was not cool. You know what I mean? Something that we definitely need to talk about and talk to them and open up spaces for them and allow them to speak and talk so we can have a bit of dialogue. But okay, they went to South Bay for a fight and all that happened. And people are acting like things like this have never happened. It has. It has. In the late 90s, I remember Galleria Mall in Cambridge, right? Cambridge does not share the same police department as Boston or anything, right? But youth violence strike force on the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, you would see them at Cambridge Mall at a certain time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Billy Stewart, which was head of probation at Dorchester Court, who had the youth violence strike force probation team, the gang unit team, I would say. He was there, you know what I mean? And they were all out there. Why? Because we would go to the Galleria Mall, and I could still remember a friend of mine who drop kicked somebody from the top of the escalator to the bottom and got arrested. No, these things happened, right? I also know another man, but young man back then, who shot and killed somebody in Galleria Mall, right? And he just came home. Honestly, these things have happened, so we can't act like, oh no, it's just this generation. No, it's not. You know what I mean? It's been happening.
Can we also name Ramilda, because I saw a lot of this floating around on social media, and I think you may have reposted it or shared some commentary as well. But over at I was going to say fish fry, Lord have mercy, at the the feast of the seven, or the fish, the event, the event that happened in Anthony's Feast that happened over in the North End, there was a similar incident. And there was a lot of comparing and contrasting. So when you say it's not just generational, it's also not just geographical. And it's black and brown young people that do it. But come.
And this is my comment that I said towards that, right? It was funny how, not funny as in humorous, but think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was quick to share the videos of the youth, our youth, black and brown kids, right? Everyone shared it. Everyone had a comment. Everyone, even people in
our
office,
community. Yep.
Right. People in office, people in our community. But see, to be fair, the people in our community didn't know what happened in the North End, right? Until other people was like, okay, y'all want to share these? What about this? You know what I mean? How come y'all not talking about this? And that's when that video of the kids from North End fighting, was being circulated. But there were city councilors that made comments about what happened in South Bay, but they didn't say anything about what happened in the North End, right? So you have to think of that. The media tore our kids apart, but never once did they report of what happened in the North End. And it was probably the same amount of kids, if not more, and they was doing the same thing. They had a brawl. They was fighting. They had a brawl. Why the police didn't show up how they showed up in South Bay, right? And again, hey, everybody wants to say, here y'all go playing the race card. But come on, what else? Please help me understand why that they didn't get treated the same way our kids got treated.
Can I also
I say our kids because that wasn't my personal kids down there. But when I say our kids, I'm for community. Your kids is my kids. My kids should be your kids. And that's how I look at it.
Can we ask it, and I'll let you go, because I know this was impromptu, and thank you. Can we also name the fact, I seen an article this morning that though there was that response. I seen video where they had state troopers and like 12, 15 police cars. And, you know, there has been some observation that it could have been worse. The amount of police and whatnot, I agree with the comparison of what happened at South Bay versus what happened at the North End. But also I've seen that word, and it's interesting for me that because the article said something about nobody was shot and there were no complaints from community about excessive force and things like that. And so where are you with the balance of the fact that though there was a large amount, that situation, and you and I have talked about this. We talked about the generational difference to which you referred. One of my concerns with Milda, and I do remember this part, sharing is, and we've talked about it before, is that the way that some of our young people are interacting with the police is making me very concerned. Because though there isn't a lot now, and I'll get to the specific of letting you respond to the police response at South Bay, there's just high potential, Ramilda. When you see these scenes of, we talked about Ashmont last year with the school let out, there's the footage of the bike, like them beating the, you know, and so policemen are not anybody, they're peer. There's dual concern for me, peer-to-peer violence, and also one of these law enforcement officers on the wrong day in the wrong situation. I'm just so very afraid. What is your response to the fact of the observation that it could have been worse in South Bay as far as the police response?
Shoot, where would these where would these kids at when the police used to be out here slamming us on our neck?
That's the generational difference.
That's my number. I'm sorry, that's what I was to think, that these kids is bold, you know. But yeah, it is dangerous, and we need to have conversations, because I'm glad that they didn't get hurt. But you know, imagine that cop getting up, you know, and that would have been what they would say a justifiable shooting, right? If they was to shoot one of our babies. And yeah, that would put us in a different thing. So we definitely need to have conversations with our kids, you know, more and about things like that. I'm glad that they showed restraint. I'm really happy that they did. But again, you know what I mean? Like now we are starting to see more officers that come from our community out there. So I don't know if that made a difference. You know what I mean? I really don't know if that made a difference. I do know there's many officers that were out there or on gang unit, my generation, that wouldn't have held back, right? And my fears, what about that day that officer was there or something like that?
And that, Ramilda, is the last thing. I said it was the last question before, but you're a parent and you talked about this a little bit. There's this notion of it starts at home. There's this notion of the fact that some of our homes, for real valid reasons, poverty, substance use, struggling, that sometimes the homes role are not conducive to that. It starts at home, and the values and the value just of two things, of life and sort of respect and manners. Can you speak to the balance of the grace that we have to give some parents, but then also you talked about accountability and responsibility. Where is that balance between grace and accountability for our parents?
Sometimes I'm gonna speak for me. Like, I was a teen mom. I had a baby at 18. I'm grateful that my mom was there, that my mom supported me. My child's paternal grandmother definitely hands down supported me and helped. But we have kids, and I didn't know this till I got older. I know people used to always say babies having babies, right? And then when I got older, I agree, I understand. Even though you have a child, you still want to live your life, and you still want to turn up. You want to go out with your friends, but you know, I didn't learn motherhood till my second child. And I could be honest about that today. And it's a lot, right? And you just posted something. I believe I saw it on
I was going to reference to that, to where the mother left the 15-year-old, you know, and we don't know the circumstances. Let's just name
we don't. Right. We don't. But from what the police call was, let's just say that really did, you know, I don't know. It's just, so the son, he's 15, and called and said there was no food in the house, no money. You know, he didn't know what to do. Mom went to Carnival in New York or something like that, right? And just left. And if that really did happen, that's a problem, right? Even though your child's 15, he's still a child. My baby is 17. She's still a baby to me, you know, and it's still my job to take care of my kids, right? My oldest is 23. Still my job to be a mother. Like that job never, and I hope other young women are listening before whatever, and knowing that a mother's job never ends. I could be 60 and my kids could be whatever. My mom is 60, right? And I'm still her child, right? 40. I'm a grown woman, but I'm still her child. And it's not her responsibility to do certain things, but, she still nurtures me, right? She's still there if I need her. If I'm sick, that's who's beside me. So, we just have to always be in our kids' life to make sure that number one, I'm not telling you don't go to carnival, but make sure certain things are in place. Make sure, you got a babysitter or you got a sister or a cousin you can reach out to. Some people may not have that, right? So it's just finding ways to like build our community. As we're seeing these things, maybe there's new things that we need to implement. Because this ain't back in the days where so many, we had villages. We don't have that anymore, right? So you have to figure out a way to get back to that where it works for all of us.
Ramilda, I appreciate that, that balance. And I know, oftentimes you and I have shared and not shared some perspectives on things. And I like that balance. And you can speak to it from life. You got perspective. This ain't just, you went to school, and got book knowledge. This is life experience. You working on the book knowledge. But I want to thank you for being on. I've kept you for about 20 minutes. Thank you for hopping on today, sort of impromptu, and giving some balance to this. A lot of the folks that are in the comments, I don't know if you're still watching. Well, you're on the phone, so you can't see. But they're agreeing with you and whatnot. I almost want to ask, does anyone have any questions for Ramilda? But we're going to continue to have these type of conversations.
If you want, I'm talking and moving around at the same time.
Okay. But no, we need to continue to have these conversations. And one of the main things we took from today is being sure to and again, we may have to, hey, Ramilda, did you see my post? And he was like, yo, James, this may have been too late, but highlighting the fact of always being careful, checking sources, and whatnot, but also highlighting, I want to end on a good note, highlighting that there was not a reaction that happened before, but there was a response, a proactive response, whatever with the flyer, and was it true or not, just in case it wasn't, someone named this, that, Brother Randy and them showed up. So these Black men stood up in leadership, and despite all that is out there about our young people and Black men and our queens, of which you are one, there's good going on in the hood. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to highlight that as well.
I will highlight this too, just as you're talking, I thought about it.
Come back a little closer to the phone, because you said you're moving around. We want to hear everything you're saying, Ro.
We have it. I mean, yeah. First of all, shout out to Brother Randy and his team. And I'm gonna say, like, they would have showed up whether there was a flyer or not. I feel like they still was gonna show up, because that's what they do. They show up. Yep. I cannot deny that. I've used them several times, and awesome. He works definitely. The mediation part, it does work. I'm not gonna put out his sauce and secret, but it does work, and he makes things happen. Like I said, I've used them before. Going back to School for More event, the Save Our Streets tournament, on Friday was the high school game, and we had hundreds of high school students there. Yeah. Right. And I could go back and get the video for y'all and stuff, but we had hundreds of middle school age and high school age young youth, and nothing ever happened. There wasn't a fight. There wasn't an argument. Nothing. They were chilling. They were having a good time. Listening to music, watching their friends play. You could see them all in their little, cliques in a positive way. Everybody was cool. They were fed. They were, I think also we need to create space and more space for these young people. And we'll talk about this maybe at another time, but we need to start opening up our community centers. I remember when I was young, I used to go to a community center. We used to have a ball. And it's just not, let's open up the community center and you just have a staff there standing around. We need staff that are for the youth workers. Youth workers, to me, are people who are still, we old, but we still young at heart, right? We're still open. We're not judgmental. We're not quick to, get out the community center because you're running in the hallway, right? Like, that type of stuff gotta go. We actually need to seriously sit down and talk about opening up these community centers, there's so many people who I can name and go on for. Y'all know who y'all are that would love those positions and take it to another level.
Not even can we keep it real? Not even positions, space and opportunity. They don't, you know, they should be compensated. You given that's why we need this audit of who else, you know, who's getting money to do stuff and not effective. But a lot of them, bro, we know all they would want is the space and the young people in collaboration, and they would be good, but they should be compensated. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just give them the space. Thinking about brother Jamal Warner. All you gotta do is give him space because he's gonna bring the young people. He already got it.
And he got a model. He got a model. Him, the brother with the bike, I can't remember his name. That works with young people with riding bikes. Him. There are these unknown to the powers that be, but very well known to those that need them on the street. And that's a whole, like you said, we can talk about that later because that's a whole nother.
That's something that us as a community have to step up. I was just watching some videos on YouTube. Y'all could go. It's in Hyde Park, Chicago. So not Hyde Park, Mass, Hyde Park, Chicago, where the community showed up. So it was a city council hearing, and they were talking about the migrants and you know how they brought the all that, and the community was concerned because it was like, hey, you guys are sharing resources and millions of dollars for this, but what about us that's been here and stuff like that?
And
right?
that came up here. It came up here too as far as housing. I'm sorry, but go ahead. Yep,
it has. Yep, it has. But that's a different thing. But the reason why I say that is, again, I thought about when you were talking, I thought about that hearing and how many people from Chicago, the residents, showed up and were talking about the resources that they need. They were all in line with each other, right? And if we do that, they have no choice but to listen to us. Because number one, we voted y'all in. Let's make that very clear. And when they see their constituents, the people that voted them in, concerned and demanding stuff, you have no choice but to do that job because you work for us, right? And that's how. If you're an elected official, you work for your constituents. You not work for nobody else but your constituents, and you have to do that job. Y'all have to make it happen. It's just like showing up to a state house hearing to change laws. We have to show up in numbers, right, in order to make that happen. And yeah, sometimes the times that they make it, they do these hearings, people can't show up, but it doesn't mean that we can't do. Yeah, but it doesn't mean we can't do on that night.
Or
you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that we can't.
They accept letters too. They accept letters,
right.
Emails. So it is. Thank you for that balance. And while I got you, I know I keep saying this is the last one. You talked about showing up. 1 week from today, Ramilda, there's an election in this city. A lot of the district races. We know that September 12th does not count for the at-large race because there are only 8 candidates, and so we don't need to get down to 8 candidates. How important is it, Ramilda, that we participate in the electoral process? Not just here. You're talking about PTA meetings. You're talking about hearings. You're talking about showing up at the parent-teacher conference. I've seen some social media posts about that. Y'all gonna go to New York, but you won't show up down the street. So again, being balanced. How important is it that we show up at the polls on next week?
It's very important because we have to get the right person in. Because if we don't, what's going to happen is
on
the
that
same
council,
thing that's happening for years.
And that's a whole
Zoom. The same thing.
And
if your council's already doing a great job, still show up so that person can stay in that seat.
That's right.
Right. And if as a community or as a district you feel like your council is not, then it's time to learn who's running so you can support them to get in and make change. And if you voted that council in and you learned that they was just talk, it's 2 years. It's time to vote them back out. You know what I mean? It's okay to do that. But again, we have to show up. And we know that the polls open from 7 and they close at 6. So yeah, we can make it. 8 p.m. My fault. Yep, we can make it, right? You can make it to those polls. It's real quick. It's seconds. Come up, pull up, circle up, whatever, fill in that little circle of who you want to vote in, and there we go. Like, it's very important. And I just recently learned within, I think, 2018, I learned how important that we're always quick to vote for president and all that. That's great. But we need to vote for our own city officials. You know, those elections to me, I've learned that are more important than others because That's going to determine the laws that, we have in Massachusetts. That's going to determine, where our money is being allocated through the city of Boston. I put this up the other day. Last week or so. We have millions of dollars that get funded through the city of Boston, right? It doesn't look like it, but we do. So we do need to ask those questions. Where's this money going to? We do need to have people, if the money, to what you call that? What's that word? When you have to audit the money. We do need somebody to no shade to no program, even mine, right? Ramilda, we gave you such. Well, they ain't never gave me no money, but Ramilda, we gave you such and such money. You know what I mean? What have you done? Where's the? I want to see like what young person was you working with? Where were they from when you had them? Did there's young people on these lists with these organizations for the past 5 years and ain't nothing happened? It's the same young person I still see shooting up the place. Like, what's going on here, right? And maybe your program's not for that young person. Let's bring them to somewhere else or her or whatever happens. And those are things that need to be happening. But they're not going to happen if we don't speak up. People are just going to do what they want to do. If all we're going to do is complain and say, not to mention nobody, let's say I was a city councilor. Ramilda sucks. She's not doing nothing for us. What is that going to do? Nothing. Because Ramilda's people are still going to show up and vote for Ramilda. So if you think Ramilda sucks, it's time for you to show up and vote somebody else in. Or it's time for you to call a meeting with Ramilda and figure out what Ramilda is doing, or, and if I'm not doing what you think should be done in your district, time to vote me out.
Where Ramilda, this, you, me, Carlos, Mass Vote, some other electeds, Darren Howell, we've been saying this for years. I asked the mayor when she was on about mass incarceration violence, this cyclical thing. We keep going in a circle of the same thing. Thaddeus made a point earlier where he sees posts. He says, I hate to hear we voted then. We voted them in, then look at the voting percentages from the community. To Ramilda's point, Thaddeus made that right before you made that. Where do we get off this cycle or the highway of this circle highway of the same thing of getting folks? When is it? We thought that Trump would change it. We thought that a world pandemic we thought that I'm feeling it. We thought that George Floyd would change it and pull people out. What is it going to take, Ramilda, to increase?
Honestly, somebody that they believe in. A lot of our community has lost hope, right? It's the same song and dance. I even feel like that. I can't even front. I've learned different things, but I even feel like that. Like, you keep voting people in and you just feel like they don't care because, again, they're doing stuff, but Boston's a city within itself. You have all these other places, downtown, north end, south end, Dorchester, Rockaway, Maryland, right? The hood, the inner city, we're not taken care of. And when we say that and when we're speaking and we show up to meetings and we're like, hey, open up the community centers, and they're still not open, then you start feeling like these people don't care about it, right? And then when this has been happening for years, you lose hope. You're like, who cares? Who really wants to, show up and make things done? That's when you have situations like when people thought I was going to run that year, right? And if you paid attention to Twitter, it went crazy because the inner city, the hood was like, yo, we need a Ramilda. Ramilda's going to get in there and get things done. Ramilda's going to this and that. I don't want to be no politician, right? Because I feel like people are too much in your business. I don't got time for all that. But, they won't worry about, and then that's another thing, y'all. People are worried about the wrong things. Who the politicians dating, that don't got nothing to do. If that person is doing their job, who they dating has nothing to do with nobody. It's not our business, personally, right? We get too mixed up in a personal life that the stuff that really matters just goes under the rug. Because we're too busy on who's marrying who's dating who went out of town, who's on vacation. That's another thing. Like, I seen some shit where it was like the mayor was on vacation. So you a mayor, you can't take a break? That's inhumane. There's no possible way you could think that somebody... And here's another thing. The Juve, we could go back to that. Oh, yes, there was any shooting is bad, period, right? But that shooting that happened this past Juve, it was not everybody, but here goes those folks, y'all know who they are, oh, it's the mayor's fault. The mayor this and that. How? How is it her fault? You know what I mean? That's been going on before her. It went on with Marty Walsh. It went on with
Menino. Menino was the worst, period. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah, it happened. Right. If I remember correctly, we had a young sister that was murdered.
A youth worker. A youth worker. And so,
who was the mayor? Walsh. But y'all didn't blame that on him. In no shape to Walsh. It's just a reality of things. People choose to comment on. And honestly, us as a community, if we stood up against those negative comments, like we need to, because we know who's making those type of comments. And most of the time, them people don't even live in our city, but they got so much to say about the city of Boston. And you talk about Mass and Cass. That's just a trigger to me. I can't even talk about Mass and Cass without getting mad. Because when I was younger, the choice of drugs was crack cocaine, right? It was on Blue Hill Ave. It was black and brown people. Everybody was going to jail. Everybody, there was no treatment. People's kids was being taken away. All of that. But Mass and Class is a free-for-all. We know why. Because look at the population, the dominant population down there. And over 72% of those people down here are not even from our city. They're not residents of Boston. Now, I guess they are, right? But look at their last known address. This time we need to tap into Swampscott, Weymouth, wherever the hell they coming from. They need to fit this bill too. That's our money, our resources that we could be spending on our young people, right? And our families that need that support. That money's too busy being flooded down Mass and Cass. I guarantee you, let's take a kid, a black and it happened to me, right? I was banned from Quincy for a very long time for stupid shit, right? So you take our kids and send them to Swampscott and let them get in trouble. I bet you he or she would never be able to go to Swampscott again. They'll give them a ban. So why is it okay for them people to come and destroy our community? Think about it. You have elders that got to step out their house and clean feces because somebody just, you know what I mean? Whatever's going on, like, it's not okay. I showed up to those hearings and heard the elderly people out from OP and Dudley and the things that they have to go through. That's not okay. And we just have to say, oh, well, they have a problem. Yes, it is a disease. I do agree. Yes, they do need help. They do need support. But why does it always have to be on the city of Boston? Why is it only just us? Oh, well, the mayor need to open up the bridge. What people don't understand is the bridge is not just the city of Boston. What about y'all don't see y'all coming at the mayor of Quincy because Quincy don't want to build that bridge. Quincy don't want that problem. But it's okay for Quincy to say that. But if the mayor of Boston say that, it's a problem.
Ramilda, I'm going to chime in because as much as folks are loving and agreeing and telling you to preach and whatnot, I don't want nobody to go in the thing and feel like you're capping. These are realities that come with Ramilda. This ain't fair because this ain't After Dark and I didn't take no notes from the article that the Real Boston Media, your boy Miguel from the other evening is in the room. He actually was he's been going in talking about what coffee you had. He wants the exact order of how you ordered it so he can get one. But he even raised the point on the platform about the fact that Herald article came out late. The mayor had been back and they were incorrect. It was the Ed knew that the mayor was gone because there was also stories and things on social media how some people perceived Ed overdoing it because the mayor was away. By charter, the mayor has to inform the president of the city council when you're leaving. And her being a lawyer and just not wanting to. All right, I don't want to get in trouble here. Okay, the other point
time out though, right? I'm not saying it's right, but let's be fair. Of course, Ed's gonna say that. Ed's also planning on running for mayor, so of course he's gonna do and say anything to make this woman look bad.
And even if it's not him, his surrogates and the people behind him that don't want this power to keep going as far as change. Ramilda, you done got now.
Man, this is the first time, whether we agree, disagree. One, I didn't vote for Wu, but I'm just gonna be honest. This is the first time we ain't had one of them in that seat, and it's eating these people up alive, right? First time we ain't had an Irish white man in that seat.
Wait, no. We did have one. Hold on. We had one Italian, Thomas Emanino. But go ahead. I'm messing. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah,
Irish. Still a white man.
But Catholic, come on. Catholic white man, whatever have you, whatever. This is the first time a man, a white man, whatever, is not in that seat. And that is bothering them, right? Like I said, I didn't vote for her. Is she doing, you know what I mean? But is she doing a bad job? She's doing the best that she can, honestly. You know what I mean? There's other things that I had to learn about. I was one of them people that, what's up with all these bike lanes? Like, we don't need this. You know what I mean? My daughter, who is 17 years old, had to sit down and break it down to me about fossil fuel and environmental justice. I don't know anything about that. So I had to sit down with my daughter, and she was.
Can we just say shout out to Kiki? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, like she's schooling now. It makes sense. I understand. I get it. But even if they are building bike lanes that we don't want, are we showing up to meetings to say that and give an alternative and say, hey, instead of doing this,
hold on, stop. Ramilda, please, stop. You just said one thing, 2 words. It's cool to show up and complain, but you said, are we giving alternatives? That ain't just to the bike lanes. That ain't just to mass and cast. That ain't just to violence, housing. It's good to show up and call out. But as Julia says, how are we calling in and saying, have you considered this alternative? This is what the community is saying. Have we looked at this? We can't just show up and complain without some ideas.
Right. And sometimes we don't know what that look like. And that's okay.
And yes, it is real. We're not hired and elected and to be leaders in representation and call things to committee for. Ramilda, you don't got me started.
That's okay. But we have to also show up in separate meetings where we can sit together and come up with a solution together as a community, right? That we all can stand firm on, you know, and sometimes doesn't mean you have to say, I don't have the answer, but if we come together, we could come up with a solution. We could come up with something and we could present that to them to be like, hey, this is what we as a community want to see happen. This is what BPS, school starts, right? Y'all kids don't start school. Some went last week. Some start this week, next week, whatever have you. School starts. DPS is not, listen, if you think South Bay was a problem, imagine what's going to happen during this school year.
Listen, we know over trends over the years, from the middle of September until the end of October, there are increases in issues of violence when it comes to young people, especially in school. You got new groups together. You got folks that ain't seen each other since last year, social media influence and all of that. And so that brings up the point, what are we doing proactively to be prepared for that within BPS? So oh God, Ramilda, this should have been after dark.
Yeah, but I don't know if people seen the video of when school ended. It was at the O'Brien. I was shocked to see that even happen
this year or last year?
Last school year, the end of school year.
Okay. What happened?
In June, whatever. So a parent, so basically, allegedly, something happened at one of the proms, whatever, for O'Brien's prom. Something happened and a fight or whatever happened. So following day, the girl's father shows up, right? And then sends them to jump one of the girls. So there was another, and how I found out about this is one of the guys, not the father, but father of another child that was there, had contacted me, and that's how I found. I'm like, what? But anyway, so shows up, they jump. He doesn't jump in, but sends his daughter. They jump one of the girls. So the father that I know is sitting there breaking it up. Then gets mad and approaches the father because he's like, "How you having kids fighting?" So he goes approach the father to fight the father. The father pulls out a gun.
I remember this. And Ramilda, did we lose you? Ramilda, get back to wherever you was. Jesus in the house. Get that signal back. Hopefully she gonna call me back, y'all. I'm gonna try her back. There she go.
We got it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We got you. Listen, folks was on, this is a serious thing, but folks definitely wanted to hear the end of this. I remember kind of hearing a little bit about that. So the 2 men got in an incident. One pulled out a gun. Go ahead.
Yep. So the father that brought the girls to jump, the other girl puts out a gun because obviously he didn't want to fight this man. So he pulls out a gun. So, anyways, that was the end of the school year. Father gets locked up, charged with a firearm, things like that. So what do we know what's going to happen this school year, right? Because did we take care of that? And this is me practicing restorative justice today. Did we take care of that? Did we take care of, those young ladies to squash that beef that nothing moves on over to this school year or whatever have you.
This
to
is
be honest, we didn't.
This is the shadow work, and why entities and folks in the model of street workers and violence interrupters and things like that need to be, well, not kept in place, because some have now shifted since July 1st. Need the way in which we address prevention, intervention, and in the worst case scenarios, there was this new term I think David Wright came up with some years ago, post-vention. After we done tried to prevent and something happened and we tried to intervene, now it's at a point now where all the ventions are over. Post-vention, we need to be intentional about the Darnell talked about this, the younger ones, the middle, the teens up to about 21, 24, and then we're going to have to put some attention either on the reentry end or black male advancement or something on the brothers as well that are 25 and up. Back in my day, in our day, Ramilda, you got out of high school, you made it to 21, 24. Even if you didn't go to college, you had a job here and there, may have had a roommate. You kind of was presumed that you was going to be all right. It's very different today. We can't really be sure about these young people, and some of them, a good portion of them, until they're like in their late 20s, 30s. It's just
but a lot of it has to do with self-esteem too.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
Ramilda,
a lot of it, from what I see and I'm only speaking for the young people that I've worked with and that I've dealt with, a lot of them are still incarcerated in Department of Youth Services, or they're in some of these state prisons. It's self-esteem, and then sometimes they figure out too late that the streets ain't really what it's supposed to be, right? Some of these young people are shouting out their uncles and their brothers and their fathers. Yeah, my father's upstate. He's running upstate. And then until you get upstate to know, no, he ain't. You know what I mean? So a lot of this is like, a lot of these kids are being misguided and lied to, and by the time they find that out, it's too late.
And that
it's the same thing with us, right? I always thought the people that I thought was the toughest, when I got older, I'm like, man, this person's a scrim. Like, he ain't got nothing going on. But again, it was too late. You was following the wrong person. And if any young people are listening, the people that are out there telling you to do stuff, man, that's not that person. I guarantee you the toughest person on your block is going to tell you to put that gun away. The toughest person on your block, whether he's still out there shooting right now, ain't going to want you doing what he's doing. I promise you that.
There's so much, Ramilda. We're going to have to figure out a way, either maybe to get you in Mondays with Milda or something. Somebody called you a Milda today. So when you say it's Ro Milda, Pastor Marion. But no, Ramilda,
it's all right.
Yeah, I know.
I get called that.
I'm messing. But no, I think these type of conversations are one of the type of conversations we need. There are different people in here that have heard different things from you, that if the topic comes up, if they go to vote, we literally changed society, Ramilda, this morning. Conversations in active real time influences society, because now anytime this comes up, mass and cast, hearing about an issue with young people, this conversation that folks listen to, you've influenced them. And so there I appreciate you for being transparent. I appreciate you for being real. There were a couple of times you was like, I'm just going to keep it 100 about my situation. I appreciate that, because there are other,
I have to. You know what I mean? I have to.
That's one of the reasons you're so effective. I can't sit here
and talk about somebody else and then act like my shit's peaches and cream. It's not. It's definitely not. And a lot of people may see me today and be like, yo, Ramilda got it together. No, I do not. I'm living. You know what I mean? And that's all of us. Every single last one of us in the hood. We're living, right? And we just got to make the best of it. But I will say it starts with growth. I can't keep sitting here and
the same.
I'm grown. You know what I mean? I have to change. And with that saying, you got to be the change you seek. Like, you have to model that. I can't just be telling these young people do this and do that and have all the answers for them, but not applying it to myself and being a hypocrite. And I don't got it together. We all growing. We all learning together. And I have to be transparent. I don't think I'm the greatest. I am. But at the same time, like, there's a lot that, I had to go through to grow. And that's the perspective that I see from. And I say it all the time, and I know you hear it. It's like, man, I should be out here owning a business, running this, running that, right? You see George, the last time me and you was there, what was he trying to do? Get me to run in and manage his business, right? And there's money behind that, right? You see, he was offering me paper. But doing that is leaving this. And to be honest with you, for me, I could leave this with no problem. But at the same time, doing this, it's not about the money. It feels something in me. I feel like I'm right and my wrong because I've also did a lot of harm to my community, right? So I feel like I'm obligated to give back. I have to, and I have to change some of that.
Ramilda, I'm going to go ahead and say this because we talk about this often and not a lot, but it comes up every now and then. You not taking away how you feel, but the posture in which the advocacy, the passion, the authenticity, sometimes the when you need to appropriately. So you are actively and have just the spirit of how you approach this. I can't measure for you how you feel about your debt, but by observation, and I'm sure many would agree in here, you pretty much close, if not already paid. You know what I'm saying? And so we definitely appreciate all that you do. Folks got a chance to hear from you about some of the shadow work that's done in the background, because you can't speak to this if you're not. There's no way in the world that I've held over 35, getting over 40 people in here at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday when folks are starting school, if folks are not interested in what you were sharing. And so I appreciate you for doing that. I'm a little bit over my time, so I got to get ready to get off of here because I got an 11 that I ain't did nothing for to get ready for. But
I be seeing people now. They be like, "I know you don't know me, but I see you on Java." Oh God!
Don't say that while Miguel is in here because he's going to get started. But
it's a lot of love, though. I will say that there's definitely a lot of love, and just knowing that it's okay with me to come on, And again, like, just take what I don't know everything. I can only tell you from my perspective and, my experiences. And I was those young people, I can't deny it. Those records will always be there for the rest of my life. But I was those young people. So if I could help in any way in supporting that, I would. And parents, there are ways. This is something else too that I want to, that I'm going to start talking about is ways that there's a lot of parents, there was a 14-year-old that was caught with an AK or whatever it was. He was assault. So, and he had like extended clip and all kind of 30 shots. Like, that's dangerous for a 14-year-old. Even him shooting that gun off is dangerous. That thing will blow that little boy back.
Yep.
But as parents, if you see that, and I know many of us, I'll be the first one to say it. I don't want to turn my kids in because I know the prison and system, and I don't want my kids to be eaten up by that or whatever. But if you want to turn a gun in without, getting your kid in trouble, without getting yourself involved, there's ways of doing that. You could call on a local pastor, a priest. A priest can never share what was shared, whatever. And I learned that, and we have a priest out here that's willing to do it.
Brother Randy is one as well. Brother Randy.
Yes. Yep. And we could turn it into them, and they could turn it into where it needs to go and things like that. So that's just another way. And I know parents, we always want to protect our kids. I am definitely one of those parents. But there's ways we can do it without you getting in trouble or without, because as we're seeing too, the older brother or whoever got the gun in the house and somehow the younger sibling got a hold of it and, it causes harm to themselves, right? We've seen it happen a couple of times in the city of Boston that I know of where, the younger kids done found it, they playing with it, the gun goes off, somebody, gets hurt or, loses their life, and we don't want that. So best way of that is just, you have to get rid of it. At the end of the day, it's your house. Like, these little badasses ain't paying no damn rent. It's your house.
I heard that.
Like,
I heard that pause there. No,
my kids too.
It is definitely
it's
real.
your house.
It is that's a whole nother thing in itself. Bishop Bragg used to talk about that. You ain't got no locked door, and when you stop paying rent. If you were paying rent, you're still in my house. And so
I was reading something with Thaddeus was even saying too. In one of the comments when you was talking about South Bay one time when he was like, when y'all talking about single parent households, and I agree with Thaddeus. He's like, no, some of these kids are coming from 2-parent households, and they are. They definitely are. I see it in court all the time. Like, I show up to these juvenile hearings and things like that. And yes, a lot of these kids are 2 parents. And again, it's self-esteem. And just because you got a parent or 2 parents in your house doesn't mean that you don't go through stuff. You do. Yep. It does. It's true. And it doesn't mean that these kids are comfortable to talk to you, just because you got a 2-parent. That's not, that's not true.
And I just thought about this sometimes, Ramilda. I just thought about this as you were saying this in reference to Thaddeus' comment and yours just now. Rebellion, pushback is a normal adolescent behavior, a rite of passage as a teenager. And if you were you're more probably inclined to, I want to be careful when I'm saying this. Data shows that when there are 2-parent homes, 2 incomes, blah, 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 there are less quality of life issues. So let me say this. And so in those situations, when the teen, you see how I'm approaching this, right? You would think, or one can assert maybe or presume that there's a different goody two shoes sometimes that comes off if you have that sort of presumed okay quality of life with 2 parents. And so there might be even bit of a more of a pushback to be like, yo, I'm going to rebel and I'm going to do this as normal teenagers do, but even more so. So like I said before, even in real,
just because they got a 2-parent doesn't make it perfect.
It doesn't make it perfect, but what I'm saying
those 2 parents in the house doesn't mean they're not struggling. Doesn't mean that they ain't struggling to pay rent. Doesn't mean that they're not at work all day so they can pay the rent. Rent is high. These people got 2 jobs. You know, the kids left at home or they have to go outside to play. Look at my culture. I'm Cape Verdean. There's a lot of 2-parent households where the parents are at work from morning to night, right? And your kids just home. So they go outside and who they influenced by, that's important, right? You can have a 2-parent household and the mother and father or whatever, the parents are arguing all day or fighting all day. That affects a child.
Yep.
That does. You know what I mean? That creates that child to be emotional, angry, or maybe don't know how to dissolve conflicts because all they see is 2 grown people arguing all damn day. And just because you got a 2-parent household doesn't mean that the mom ain't sad or the dad or whatever.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that the parent doesn't see that, the child doesn't see that they parent, you know, damn, my mother's sad all day. So she's, you know, or they're dealing with whatever drama that they're dealing with that they forget the kid. That happens a lot in our community, in our people, with our cultures. They together, but is it a healthy relationship? That's important.
That's it, Ramilda. That's a whole nother no, in all seriousness, what you're saying is absolutely real. And that's another perspective about this starting at home and single parents, two parents and all that. And some of the parents, Ramilda, they went in with you earlier, but the parents are really going in now on that parent piece. And so thank you. Tara, you know, Tara Curry Register Curry's in the building, who you know from Paula's place. What do you call it? Family Nurturing Center. She is saying it's absolutely the truth. And so Ramilda, I definitely got to get off of here. I appreciate you. Next time we're down in the Stellars, you know, wings or what is it? What is it? Cotton candy? What is it? What's the
no, tastes like candy.
Tastes like candy. Yeah, one of those on me.
But definitely, y'all should definitely come down, support my brother. Of course, you know, it is one of the few Black-owned businesses in downtown Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we have to support our people. And I will say support George always, not just because that's my brother, but honestly, it's like he gives back to the community. A lot of people don't know this. And I know y'all going to run down on him after I say this, but George actually gives back. I want to say definitely over $50,000 a year to community. Whether you're trying to do a block party for your neighborhood, you know, you need help for a sister that needs prom dress, whatever have you. George has funds that he gives back to the community. So definitely support him so he can continue to support others.
Well, we're going to be there on Thursday night at 7:00 supporting Estella's, bringing in my birthday as well. And I was very intentional about a few places I'm trying to spread the birthday and supporting Black-owned businesses. And so we want to make sure that we get down there and support Georgie. Because this
is a Black-owned all the way,
Ramilda,
through. You know me? No,
I know.
White person behind them. No, because a lot of the times we do that, and it's like, nah, this young man really worked hard to get to where he's at. You know what I mean? A great, awesome young man, but he's really worked hard to get to where he's at. And again, this is someone who doesn't forget where he come from, and definitely gives back to our community in so many ways.
Ramilda, I'm going to say this, and I don't know what you did to Mama Java today. She said, Ramilda, girl, if you don't tell the truth, I was a single parent. And look how I came out. I came out, I think, all right. So Ramilda, again, thank you.
Because you know better. Because Mama Java, one of them parents.
Everything wasn't perfect, but God knows I was taught manners, respect, regard for life.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, and so how to wash dishes, how to mop a floor.
Right.
I can go through here right now and clean my whole apartment. And so
I was a little badass, but I'll be real. I was taught respect, morals, and we knew better.
Mhm.
Back then, it was different. Your neighbor will whoop you behind. So, so we always respected our neighbors and stuff like that. That was like our bonus family, our aunties and stuff.
Yep.
So we just have to bring that back, you know.
To the village. All right, Ro. Thank you. Give
Yeah.
Kiki my best, and I'm sure I'll see
Thank
you
y'all.
maybe sometime
y'all
before
later.
Thursday.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Thank
Later.
you. Whoa. That was definitely not expected. I saw her comment and just reached out. So it was definitely, I believe, y'all know I'm a man of faith. It was definitely meant for her to come on today to share a lot. I don't know who was what. We had some of the highest numbers we've had. Well, kind of hit these couple of weeks ago, or last week rather. But it was meant for someone to hear that. And so please share this. Please tag someone. Maybe not tag, but send in an inbox or a link, because sometimes when you tag people, you know, what you tag me in this for, what they talking about, you know, you want them to get a lot of the message. I'm sure the team at some point is going to extract some things out of here and put up reels, because Ramilda dropped a lot of knowledge. Just by way of announcements, we will not have Mayor Wu with us tomorrow, because she is going to do the first day of school things, not only as the mayor, but she got 2 children she needs to take to school. So the team reached out to me the end of the week before last and said, hey, the mayor won't be on the 6th. The mayor is rescheduled to next Friday, September, not August, September 15th. The mayor will be with us next Friday, September 15th. Also, speaking of programming, I'm going to go ahead and say it. We will not be back in the Java Cafe until Friday. Talked to Anissa last week. She didn't say you need to, but she was like, nobody's booked. And I looked at the calendar, and a lot of my calendar is blocked out until the 13th. And so we will not be back, folks, in the Java Cafe until Friday morning. That's what I'm saying right now. I don't know if I'll get up tomorrow morning, or God forbid somebody reaches out last minute, comes on. Friday morning, we will be here at 9 a.m. kicking off. I'm bringing in my birthday on Thursday night, but at 9 a.m., y'all pray I can get up on Friday. At 9 a.m., we're having a special Java with Jimmy birthday Java on Friday at 9 a.m. Some folks will be coming on screen. We're going to open up the phone lines for birthday wishes and whatnot. And so we will not be back in the Java Cafe until Friday at 9 a.m. All right. I'm also taking a little bit of a break. I'm getting ready to hopefully transition and relocate within Boston, not relocate, move to a new place, to a smaller place. So y'all pray, because unless Jesus does something very quick, it's a nice place, newly renovated. It's just smaller. And I got all this stuff to figure out what I'm getting rid of, what I'm taking, what's going over to the Globe, when it can go over to the Globe. So yeah, I'm taking a break to just get some things together and get ready for this weekend. Miss Teresa, don't say that. See, that's the thing that's the thing that I'd be worried about. Yeah, so I might pop on. I don't know. But right now, we won't be back until Friday at 9 a.m. All right. Don't forget Thursday, 7 p.m. at Estella's. Don't forget next Saturday, September 16th at 3 p.m. We will be gathering together. More information is coming out about that. It will be in Dorchester, in the Blue Hill Ave, Grove Hall area next Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. Tight 3 to 6 p.m. Open to the public birthday gathering. All right. I will see everyone on Friday at 9 a.m. All right. Miss T, I ain't messing with you. Miss T, Ma said you could call her. But thank all of you. This is Testimony Tuesday. It is my birthday week. I'm not going to go into some things. I'll share more about the transition with the apartment soon. I've grown a lot, y'all. I've grown a lot. And I'll just leave that there. We will see you Friday morning at 9 a.m. Have a great week, everybody. To all the young people that are going back to school, please feel free to drop pictures on Java with Jimmy or my personal page of young people going back to school. And I think that is it. Also, well, no, that's it. The next WGBH event is on September 27th. We are celebrating Latino Heritage Month under the theme of Unidos. And we're going to focus on the Latinx community, but also talk about a little bit about the diaspora. We talk Black and brown often. It's usually reference to those majority of Latino descent. And so we're going to have a little bit of that perspective at WGBH as well. Sister Irvin, thank you so much. Sister Leslie, yes, it's a reset. Bobby Perry said this to me some years ago. Mr. Reset, messing with you. Temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement. And so that's been a lot of my perspective in helping me just downgrade. So, all right, I'm off of here. Don't forget UCB, Sharon, Mon, other folks. Y'all get 90 minutes today because it was definitely a good session today. All right, I'm getting off of here before I keep rambling. See you guys Friday morning at 9 a.m. We'll put up a post or a flyer to let you guys know not to come back until Friday at 9 a.m. And yes, Mr. Reese, I'm going to eat and drink. Did a little food prep yesterday with the extra day on the weekend. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace and have a great day. All right.